Hello again, everyone, and welcome to science class. Our last topic for e-learning, as long as we go back to school in February, that is nuclear energy. Again, I've broken this class up into two classes to make it a little easier, okay, for all of us, because this is, again, quite a complex topic to wrap our heads around. So let's get started. We have a couple objectives. How is nuclear energy used around the world? How does nuclear energy affect the environment? And what is nuclear fusion and nuclear fission? Now that last objective we will cover in the next class. Just, again, breaking it up to make it a little easier on all of us. So, some vocabulary words to go along with our topic. First of all, uranium. Elemental symbol U. Uranium is a naturally occurring radioactive element that is very hard and heavy and is classified as a metal. Radiation is energy released by atoms. Now, radiation cannot be touched, it cannot be seen, it cannot be heard, but it is all around us all the time. Now, when we talk about radiation in terms of nuclear energy, the levels of radiation that can occur in a nuclear reaction can be dangerous, but typical radiation that's all around us every day is okay. We have to just clarify that. Lastly, a nuclear reactor. Now, a nuclear reactor is used to start and control a nuclear chain reaction, a series of events. Now, nuclear reactors are used at nuclear power plants to produce electricity. Okay? Again, they're going to be used to heat up water. Guess what? Spin a turbine. To guess what? Spin a generator. And, you guessed it, create electricity. Now, I want us to think about nuclear energy around the world first. So, there are 439 nuclear reactors, okay? Things that create or use nuclear power to create electricity. And they are in 31 countries. These reactors produce 11% of global energy, okay? So 439 reactors producing 11% of the entire world's energy. Now, as I mentioned before in a previous class, there are no nuclear power plants in Thailand, and actually if you look at the map here, there are no nuclear reactors in Southeast Asia. And this is because nuclear power plants are very expensive to build. However, they're not expensive to operate. So, when we think about this, the cost of nuclear power comes at the very beginning. Building the plant, getting it set up, making sure everything is safe. But once everything is online, as they would say, then it's pretty inexpensive to run. And they can run for decades. 10, 20, 30, 40 years even, or more for that matter. Now, nuclear energy produces no pollution, and it has very little impact on the environment. The water that is used to cool the nuclear reactor is recycled. Okay, so as it cools the reactor, it gets back into the river or waterway, and it's completely clean. The one concern, and we won't really get into this, is nuclear waste. All right, what happens to the byproducts, the uranium byproducts, after a nuclear power plant uses all the energy from it? That's a concern. That's an environmental problem, but there are ways people are looking into to solve that. But I don't want to get into that too much. The major concern of nuclear power is what's called a meltdown. So the greatest risk of nuclear energy is the potential release of radiation from a meltdown. A meltdown is when the nuclear reactor becomes too hot and radioactive material, radiation, is released. Okay? Nuclear power plants are designed to avoid meltdowns. Okay? So it takes a lot to cause a meltdown, and if one should happen, these reactors and these facilities are designed to protect against leaking radiation. But that doesn't mean it has not or does not happen. When radiation is released through a nuclear meltdown or through other means, all right, if you ever have an X-ray, radiation passes through your body. Okay, it's on safe levels. Again, don't worry too much. But radiation hurts the cells in our bodies, and it can cause sickness, it can cause cancer, and it can even cause death. Okay? If you want to learn a little bit more about radiation or radiation sickness, you can look at the little graph on the right here talking about what's happening with our bodies when they are exposed to radiation and what happens over time. Now, like I said, even though these facilities are designed to prevent against nuclear meltdown, it doesn't mean that they don't happen. There have been 3 nuclear disasters. The first was 3 Mile Island in the United States in 1979. Fun fact, this 3 Mile Island is only a few miles from where I grew up in America, so this nuclear disaster is well known in my hometown, and I've known about it my entire life. The second occurred at Chernobyl in Ukraine, what is today Ukraine, but at the time was in the Soviet Union, and this happened in 1986. The most recent one was in Fukushima, Japan, in 2011. This followed the tsunami that occurred due to the earthquake. In all of these examples, you had a meltdown, but with 3 Mile Island, there was no radiation leaks. With Chernobyl, there was. In fact, the entire city of Chernobyl is now empty. They had to evacuate, and a lot of health issues sprung from that. And as far as I know, with Fukushima, there was some radiation leak, but not too extensive, so it was quite contained. So, we covered the first 2 objectives here about nuclear energy around the world and the effect on the environment, and for that matter, our bodies. Next class, we will look at the 2 types of nuclear energy, fusion and fission. So, please make sure you complete the daily attendance questions, and then we will continue from there next time. Okay? Thanks so much. Have a good day.